personally, I feel very much that technology should enhance our human connections with each other, with fashion, with a community. And fashion is not a superficial subject. I mean, first of all, it's a $23 trillion industry, but aside from that, it's about how we express ourselves. How do we customize ourselves? What is the story that we want to tell people about us?
Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Staying Curious. I'm your host, Amy Herschel, and I'm excited to welcome today's guest, Clare Tattersall. Clare Tattersall is the director of Digital Fashion Week New York and the founder of The Drip, a haute couture digital fashion boutique with a focus on the utility of digital garments. Join me in welcoming Clare. Thank you, Clare, for joining us today. I'm so very excited to speak with you. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always great to have a conversation with you, Amy. So I'm
I
really
know. I
looking
feel
forward
like
to it.
lately I've had the honor of speaking with you quite a bit. So I'm super excited to have you officially as a guest on our podcast today. We have
Thank you so
a lot of
much.
stuff coming together, you and I. So I think the audience will be super excited to learn more about you and then see what's coming. So let's talk a little bit about what you're currently doing and this Digital Fashion Week and what that's all about.
Sure. Yeah. So Digital Fashion Week, it's September 8th to 11th. We're relatively new. We really officially launched last year and it's growing at such a rate, which is amazing. I really realized that there was a need to share, to learn, a platform where we bring together creativity and technology. I think humanity is naturally curious, and we're at this super, super exciting place in fashion right now where everything is changing dramatically. Honestly, there hasn't really been a revolution in fashion since the invention of the sewing machine in the 1700s, and we've kind of been waiting for something and looking for something. And, there's a lot of innovators who've been trying to make things happen, but it's the last couple of years that it actually has picked up. And the world is really ready for change. So at Digital Fashion Week, we're bringing together technology innovators and fashion creatives, and we're creating immersive experiences looking at different ways that we can touch fashion, how we can experience fashion, both physical and digital. We're looking at the entire digitization of
So
the fashion industry and how we can
So how
make
did
it
that
a better
come
place.
about? I mean, I know this is not the one coming up in September isn't the first one. So talk a little bit about where you saw this need, potentially how the pandemic accelerated this need. Talk a little bit about why this shift for you in your career to this type of technology.
Well, I've been in digital fashion since 2009, where I launched a company, Thunder Lily. We were creating a software uh, with aspiring to be like Lectra. You're very much looking at what's possible for large designers. How could we make something that would be usable for independent designers? Um, and we made a pattern designer and we were draping it on a 3D model. We were integrated in the garment district, picked up as a technology portfolio startup by Columbia University. We were licensing their draping software. I'm giving you the very
Oh, it's great. It's great.
expedited version. Yeah. Um, but so because I've been in digital fashion and I added wearable technology into that. I've long been asked to curate the tech night of fashion weeks. It is kind of a niche position at the intersection of technology and creativity. It's, there's a smaller number of people who are willing to like put themselves out there in this position. So it was good to carve that out for myself and a team around me. So it was actually working with Fashion Week Brooklyn, who are always looking to innovate in this area as well, and trying to put wearable technology on the runway during the pandemic. And I didn't want to just YouTube it. So I created virtual galleries, and we had a gallery for wearable technology, a gallery for digital fashion, and a gallery for the tech companies as well, because I think they're a really important part of the conversation. And it was just so much more successful than I had or anybody else had anticipated. We had 7,000 people visiting our galleries, and realized there's a need for this, a platform where designers can exhibit their work, they can show what they're doing, where tech companies can have like a sort of a more fun, sexy, kind of glamorous environment where they can show what they're doing and how you can put the two together. We know that digital fashion where it is now has come from a tool like Lectra and everything. It's designed to help designers be more sustainable, more efficient. And when you put a tool in the hands of creatives, something else comes of it. And hence we have digital fashion. And so for that reason, I think it's really important to keep looking at the technology that is emerging onto the market and how the different technologies can work together and work together with the
So,
creatives.
the pandemic seems to have been an accelerator. I mean, I know it has in the technology industry, but it's definitely for this need. So it seems like you were very successful during this time with your 7,000 people joining. What do you think was the real acceleration of that? I understand the metaverse blew up and everyone wanted a piece of it, but do you have any insight into as to why you felt that happened?
Right. Well, I think we're still, really on the outskirts of the metaverse and the potential for that. But in terms of how brands and retailers can better connect with their fashion buyers, how they can be more efficient, more effective. Sustainability came into the conversation as well. How can we have less returns? Because everybody's ordering online. How can we make that a better process for everybody? So, all these companies who've been knocking on doors for years, suddenly it became relevant, the work that they've been doing. And, it's really a super unfortunate that it took a disaster to make people realize this. But, it's I don't want to say it's been good to move the industry along because there's nothing good about a pandemic. But it has highlighted the issues that we long knew about. And so it has enabled people who've been working on these to be ready with the tools and the technology to provide
So, what
solutions.
is the so,
So
so
yeah,
talk a
I
little
mean
bit
that.
about where you're thinking this is, where that collaboration goes. I mean, obviously, when you think about digital fashion, you think gaming. Um, so, talk a little bit about how you're supporting companies working within the gaming industry, but also what other ways you're working with designers if who don't want to just be within the gaming environment and want to do more quote unquote traditional ways of selling their designs, but in a digital sense. So talk a little bit about that.
Right. Actually, so I love that you raised this question because we're not. only looking at digital fashion as an end result. We're looking at the entire story around fashion and how that is digitized. So there's so many parts. You might need to come back to me with some more questions on this if I haven't answered your question. But um, so we're looking at designers, and if they are physical designers, how they can have digital touch points. Why would a physical designer want to design in the digital space? Why would they want to create digital clothing? This alone is one way to reduce inventory. You can get people to interact with your clothing, to try it, to test it, to see what they think about it before they buy a physical item. And that's relevant for both large companies and for small companies as well. And that's really one small perspective of it. So not all digital fashion is going to be in the gaming industry. However, we have a lot to learn from the gaming industry. They've been doing this for 20 plus years, and they're really good at what they do. They've been building environments where people want to be. And when you're in an immersive environment, you need something to wear. So this is an amazing opportunity for digital designers. So not only from a testing point of view, but as the gaming industry is growing and expanding and reaching constantly new markets, how are we going to customize our avatars and our characters in there? So great opportunity if you are a physical designer in the real world. There is a new market that you could be reaching. It's not just about testing, it's about how people are going to wear your clothes in different places. Very similarly to, like, we don't just wear our clothes in the kitchen or in a restaurant. We want to wear our clothes everywhere. And that concept is really expanding into the virtual
So
world.
who's coming to you with
So,
that? Who, like, are physical designers coming to you because they want to learn about the digital, or do you have actual designers who are only starting in the digital and you're trying to get them to also be in the physical? Like, who's really, who's that 7,000 people that you've talked about? Who are those? Who are the real leaders of these digital designers who are creating things for these spaces?
so our audience is primarily fashion brands. It's very much B2B, really. It's fashion brands, it's retailers. Um, I'm not going to name any names on air, but we have very, very large names across footwear, across haute couture fashion, across mass market retailing. This is our audience, and they're coming and they're looking not just at the digital designers, but also at the technology as well. And because we're creating immersive experiences, and it is the experiences which is sort of our unique point as well. Personally, I feel very much that technology should enhance our human connections with each other, with fashion, with a community. And fashion is not a superficial subject. I mean, first of all, it's a $23 trillion industry, but aside from that, it's about how we express ourselves. How do we customize ourselves? What is the story that we want to tell people about us? um, I I don't actually really believe in convincing anybody they should do something. I believe in providing ideas and creating thoughts and conversations around what is possible. And I think people will make their own brand and personal choices within that. But I think the more options we see available to us, the better choices that we can make either as individuals or as designers or as
So when you
retailers.
put on like into the metaverse event that's coming up in September, what exactly are people getting and seeing? Are they like what are the experiences? Like are they only seeing, virtual runway fashion? Are they seeing clothing they can buy for gaming? Are they seeing virtual fitting? What is that meta into the metaverse experience, that multi-level experience actually like?
So I love that you've asked this because I think it's a really important conversation to have. There are people who are very, very comfortable in the metaverse, although the metaverse is in its infancy. But there are very people who are comfortable with Web3 and digital fashion and the metaverse. But the vast majority of people are not entirely comfortable in that. They're not aware of the technology. They're not aware of, customizing an avatar, or really how do you find an avatar? What should your avatar do or look like? And so we're providing um, touch points on all of this. So we're calling it Into the Metaverse because we really want to provide information about how do you enter the metaverse, not just as an individual who wants to be in there, but as a brand as well. What How would you be in the metaverse? What do you need to do to get in the metaverse? Why would you want to be there? So to answer some of these questions, we are bringing together technology like um, we have human solutions, and they're a segment of that evolution that they're providing custom avatars. So you can create an avatar that meets your body size and shape. So many avatars in the metaverse at the moment, they're like one standard size, which doesn't really fit anybody. It's like there's no one size of clothing. And again, we want to represent who we are, and we don't want diversity enriches any community. So we don't want to be pigeonholed in something that we're not. And the same as we want an avatar that's going to look like us in size and shape and color, we want to be able to dress that avatar as well. So, how do we access digital fashion? How do we dress an avatar? We have some really exciting showrooms as well. We have one company that we're working with where they've built these beautiful showrooms that you can walk around and you can try the clothing on in there for a designer. So when we have our event at Lectra as well, you're going to be able to try these things out on TV screens, take little steps into the metaverse. We're going to have speakers. It's our first time having sort of a democratic speaker event. People will come and they will talk about subjects of their choice. We have select panel discussions where we're curating the conversation. And this is all taking part in our metaverse exhibition. So you can come in, you can visit the booths, you can go to the movie theater and see the animations in there. And you can visit the panel discussions. If you can't get a ticket for the actual panel discussion, you can come in over the course of 4 days and you can watch the recording of it.
Are the
So
panelists avatars in the
they will be. Yes, we're still putting together the panelists and the discussions over the next couple of weeks. But yes, we're going to have them on our website. We're going to put up the speakers first of all. It's much simpler when it's one person at a time, but we really are curating the panel discussions to provide value, and our panel discussions are always sold out. We have experts, industry leaders from around the world. They're virtual. Um, neither the panelists nor the speakers have to be in person. And we curate the conversation to provide really valuable thoughts, ideas, and conversations
So talk a little.
around very specific
Sorry, I didn't
topics.
mean to interrupt you, but part of the into the metaverse, or your, because I know when you're going to do physical fashion shows at the the event you're hosting at our facility in New York. Talk a little bit about how you're trying to push designers, because you work a lot with the digital designers versus the physical designers. So how are you working with those digital designers to push themselves to be in the physical space, and then leveraging NFTs, but to be able to be more cohesive? Because we always feel like that's the next step, right? Is physical and digital being, being able to wear something in your gaming environment or your metaverse environment, and then showing up at a dinner party wearing the same dress. Talk to me a little bit how you're envisioning that push forward of the physical and digital.
So if our designers are working just in the digital space, we're not trying to change that at all. We're trying to provide functionality around the different ways that you can wear digital fashion in the digital world. Um, we're really happy to encourage collaborations and partnerships with people in the physical world. Our greater value is to physical designers and enabling them to actually enter the digital space and look at the value that it has to them as a brand. How can they be in the gaming industry? So we launched in June the Drip.boutique. And so it's our haute couture um, fashion boutique. We just started with 6 designers who we know are both brilliant designers, and also technically they're able to adopt new software to work with and adapt to new software as well. There's a lot of work for these designers involved. It's not just about selling. They actually have to continually work, and they're amazing about this as well. And they're always hungry and curious for new ideas. But so what we're looking at is, what are the ways that you can actually wear digital fashion? And this is a really big question. So on TikTok, we're experiencing a lot of questions about, like, that looks really nice, but how am I going to wear it? So we have different technology partners that enable functionality. So we have Ventana, who they've been really generous working with us for a long time, providing access for our designers. So providing augmented reality experiences. So our designers, for working with them, there are different ways that you can use AR. The way that we are using it is sort of as an art form, a social media form. It's something you can take with you. That the designers put the garment on an avatar, and then with a QR code, and you can see examples behind me as well from a fashion trail that we had last year. You scan the QR code, and then you get this avatar in this fabulous outfit anywhere that you are, and you can record it, or you can take a screenshot and share it on social media. The possibilities for augmented reality are in fact much greater than that. In terms of try on, it's for jewelry try on, and there's some companies like Jevels who are doing an amazing job with that. For fashion try on, it's not 100% there. It's a good way of kind of getting a concept of something and understanding if that's something you want to buy. And then when you buy it, we're working with a company, Texel Moda, that it's body mapping. They just do this fantastic body mapping, and you upload any photo and as many photos as you want, and it maps the garment onto your body in real time. So you can either take a photo of yourself standing right here, or upload something from your vacation when you're on the beach, or at the top of a mountain, and you can map the garment onto your body, and it looks really cool, like you're really wearing it. And the other technology that we're looking at the moment is with Meta Taylor, who they've been in the gaming industry for like over 20 years. And that's the area that they're really coming from. And they've kind of created this avatar zero. So the designers dress their garment on this avatar, and then it can be exported into any game. And this is the nearest thing that we have to universal interoperability
Wow.
at the moment. And I think it's a really, really exciting tool for the future of fashion, because all the different games have different avatars and different styles and shapes of clothing, but this adapts it. So you really get, when you buy an NFT, you get a lot of use out of your clothing wherever you want to use it.
So, are you finding that the benefits of for a physical designer, getting them to adopt some of these digital, the benefits for them are great versus the other way around? So, for a physical designer, up and coming designer, you could do all these digital activities to lower your price points, to fund your collections, things like that. You're finding for physical designers, showing them these digital avenues is actually going to be beneficial to getting their business up and running.
Right. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, digital clothing can sell for a lot less and to a much greater range of people as well. You don't have the gatekeepers of buyers. You have a lot more agency over where you're showing your designs, and you can put it on multiple platforms. You can look at where your garments can be worn. I think there are great opportunities for trying things on. The opportunities for, just for trying something on before you buy it, or for selling it in the digital world, or for creating experiences. It feels to me very much like a no-brainer for anybody in the physical world. There's different marketing. I mean, these are kind of marketing tools. It's all marketing. You want to result in sales of some sort at the end of the day. And these are either marketing or they're sales tools. And you can kind of choose what they are as well.
Yeah, so that leads me into my next little part here. So give me three pieces of advice then that you would that you would give a designer, or you have given a designer who wants to get into the digital space, the digital experiences.
So the digital world and Web3 is a very collaborative world. There's a lot of people in this world who believe in a nicer industry. The fashion industry doesn't always have the greatest reputation for kindness, for the hierarchy. So a big piece of advice is be kind, be nice to the people around you, be curious. I love the title of your podcast, because I think that's the key to everything. Stay curious. Everything is changing. Our events are twice a year, and we cannot plan more than 6 months ahead because the technology is changing so fast. If we plan, we'd be out of
Yeah,
date by the
be
time we
outdated.
come to do the event. So it's super stressful, but it's the way to be the most provide the most exciting experiences. So I think really be kind and collaborate, be curious, and stay educated, which I guess is another sort of part of being curious. But be willing to adapt. Don't know who you are. Be willing to adapt. And I think a really, really big thing is know your brand and know what you want to achieve with your brand. The metaverse feels like a huge bandwagon that everyone wants to jump on. But is it for you. You don't want to push yourself past your financial limits in order to achieve something that isn't necessarily going to have a return on investment. So, really, how does every step that you make in the digital world has to fit with your business model as well?
That's
Um,
great.
and I think it's just a very important bottom line to keep in mind in every choice that you
That's
make.
great. No, that's definitely awesome piece of advice. Which I think would also be the one thing you should avoid then is, you know, making sure you're staying true to you, to who you are, and don't try to be somebody you're not. That's
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah. So what is,
Brilliant.
so
Brilliant.
six, you can't even plan your own event in, obviously we know we're working together on this. We're at the end of July and we're still going and it's in September, but what is your prediction for the future of fashion technology?
Oh wow. Well, everything is going to continue to grow. I think the world of avatars, how we wear fashion in the metaverse, there is huge room for growth there. Um, and it's a really, really important area as well. Currently, adults in America are spending 40% of their waking time online. That's pretty significant. More and more of that time is going to be in immersive experiences. More of our work is going to be in immersive experiences, in virtual meeting rooms, um, learning, learning experiences, how we learn to do something, learning physical skills. We'll be doing a lot more of it in the metaverse and in immersive worlds, and we need to be dressed in there as well. So it's not just about being fabulous and in the gaming industry. It's going to be more and more in our everyday lives. So I think there's a lot of different parts of technology, and I'm going to be missing out on a lot that I say here because I'm going to, just really tell you top of mind issues. But avatars and how to dress them, I think there's going to be rapid growth. Bringing fashion effectively into the metaverse for large numbers of people is very, very difficult still at the moment. Requires, a lot of computational power, um, and we're just not there yet. So in a couple of years, it's going to be a very different story, and it's going to be just really enjoyable watching this grow and who comes to solve problems.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Claire. This was super enlightening, and I'm so happy you were able to join us today. And thank you so much for your time. I just wanted to let you know how you can get in touch with Claire if you're interested. Her website is Digital Fashion Week NYC. There is also where you can learn about Into the Metaverse and the activities they're doing for Fashion Week of New York, the week of September 8th. I believe it's 8th, 9th, and 10th. And what we're also doing, we're hosting them at Lectra at the Innovation Center in New York. But please look for Clare Tattersall on LinkedIn as well. She's up and coming, man. She's got this whole technology thing down. So please be sure not to miss out and follow her because you will be missing what's coming, what's new. So I wanted to thank you all for tuning in today. Please continue to stay curious, as Claire has also said, and remember to like and subscribe to our social media pages and our YouTube to continue to be notified of when we have some shows that are coming up. Thank you all and have a fantastic day.